The over and under has got to be like 60 or something like that. This is going to be a high scoring game because you got two average defenses, but man, you got two dynamic quarterbacks, and Jaden Daniels he's coming to his own very quickly. You got to give it to that organization with Kingsbury and just knowing your quarterback and what he excels in, and then, hey, this is what we're going to build this offense around you, man. The job they're doing with Jaden Daniels is awesome. He is throwing the deep ball. He's getting Scary Terry involved. Brian Robinson's running the ball good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk, where the only thing we're biased about around here is our beards. My name is David. I got Carlos. I got Scooter with me. And this week, we're going to be diving into everything NFL, kind of looking at some games ahead. There's some big matchups this week. Also, we got some breaking news that we will be talking about here momentarily. But before we get into all of that, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that is the best way to continue to support us as we grow this NFL season. Gentlemen, breaking news from the New York Jets. Robert Saleh is officially out as the head coach. Aaron Rodgers chased him out of town with the American flag flying behind him. So now you have Brian, what's his name? Ulbrich, whatever. And so he's going to be the interim head coach. It's not been good in New York. It's not been good for the Jets. I didn't see this coming, because if you go back to our, way too early predictions.
Drinking was strong, Dave. It's okay.
Listen, I typically like to drink the Kool-Aid very heavily. I was born and raised in Gibsonton, Florida, so it's just in my nature to do that.
But Robert Saleh is out. 16-1 at the beginning of the year when we did our predictions.
Dude, I think I only had them losing like maybe 2 games. Yeah, it was pretty intense. So, and they're already there.
Lost
so, yeah. So, but I mean, it's not been a pretty picture with the Jets. It doesn't seem like Aaron Rodgers is in sync with his wide receivers, which is why it's been the rumors of Davante Adams. We thought we were going to be talking about breaking news of Davante Adams. Instead, we're talking about breaking news of Robert Saleh. Was he the problem in New York, or is this just a complete organization dumpster fire?
No. Rodgers probably chased him out with Johnson Johnson baby oil like P. Diddy. No, sorry. There was probably some shrooms and drugs involved and some discount double check, but Saleh was not the problem. You got Nathaniel Hackett, who can't throw more than 40 yards of offense or whatever. I know Aaron Rodgers said, "Get my offensive coordinator out of your mouth" to Sean Payton, but like, Nate Hackett sucks, bro. Like, that's just the name. That's just it. It is what it is. I mean, you have more wins with Zach Wilson than you do with Aaron Rodgers, and you're in year 2. Granted, he had an injury, year 1. You can't pass your wide receivers. You're making it look like they're running the wrong routes. How about you just get in sync, man? Hold a meeting. Get on the same mental wavelength. You're a bunch of adults, man. Be some men. Be a man about it. That's just it's football. You sack up or go home. And apparently Aaron Rodgers is too damn crusty to know the difference.
Can't take on a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's not doesn't work out well. But yeah, Rodgers ran him out. I know the owner's saying it's like me only. No. Your quarterback came to you and with frustrations, and it was like me or him. And without him, I don't think Tyrod Taylor can take them to where they want to go. But, I mean, now Rodgers probably will get what he wants, and he's going to want to be like Brady, call the plays. But it might work out for him. Maybe, I mean, they're keeping the same defense. The O-line has not been good. That's been a disappointment for them because they spent a little money there. But we'll see. I mean, now Rodgers doesn't have an excuse. I thought this offense would be fantastic with Breece Hall, Wilson, Mike Williams, even Conklin at tight end is not terrible. And man, they are really out of sync. So hopefully this is, if you're a Jets fan, Hopefully this is what shakes it up. But I think he lost a good head football coach in the process.
Yeah. Who knows where to see. Now we talk about, who's going to land there. Carlos, I know that you mentioned earlier outside of, kind of in our group chat that maybe this is where Ben Johnson goes maybe next year. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I mean, to see. But does Rodgers stick around for another year, even if they don't make it to they're not, at this point, they might not even make the playoffs. I mean, who knows? But I mean, if they don't, because the ultimate goal for the Jets, and obviously every organization, is to make it to the Super Bowl. But I mean, this is they kind of went all in, right? That's why they brought in Rodgers. That's why they brought in so many different players to kind of surround Rodgers and give him that young talent and everything. And I mean, they have a fantastic defense. They were, I think, top 3 defense last year. I mean, they lost a couple of pieces, but it's still a good defense. They still have a lot of talent. So now you're on an interim head coach, so now you're kind of in this in between. Does Rodgers stick it out another year with the Jets, or does he just kind of go away? And he took a nasty spill on Sunday morning. I thought he was done. He did not look good. It looked like I honestly thought it ruptured again. The way that he was holding his leg and everything, I was like, "Ooh, that's not good." So, but he ended up coming back out like the very next play.
I think the only way he comes back is if the Jets make a massive run, because he even mentioned like the recovery time just isn't there anymore, and his body's starting to fail him. And if they don't make a big run, I don't know why he would come back. He's already a Super Bowl winner. He's a Hall of Famer. It can't be the money. Yeah, the Jets are going to have to get really good quickly to even think if he's going to come back. Plus, the new head coach is going to be a deciding factor too.
If he comes back, it's strictly because of pride. It's all pride at this point. And yeah, he's maybe a Hall of Fame quarterback, but yeah, your offensive line's looking very sparse, like Swiss cheese. Your defense and the Jets, yeah, they may have been top 3 last year, but they're barely hitting top 10 this time. They got secondary like no other, but they're kind of getting exposed. You lost to Sam Darnold, for Christ's sakes. Like, Grandy's playing very well. So if you're the Jets organization, firing Sulla was very confusing. You should have just gotten in sync, put the pedal to the metal, right? Put the fire there, because Rodgers needs to be in sync with his wide receivers. The offensive line needs to own their stuff. Whether you don't have an A-list O-line or not, you need to perform. Dude, it's the NFL. Put up or shut up or sit the bench. Like, yeah, call the plays like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, but you're not showing us you still have it. The throws the timing's strange. Like, Rodgers can always put it on a dime or whatever. I don't know if it's Garrett Wilson. I don't know if it's Mike Williams. When you're throwing your arms up on a play, you're either, one, looking for a flag, or you're saying, what the hell to your wide receiver, but like you're watching the play pan out and you're like, that seemed fine to me. But they're just getting outplayed, and I think he's having a hard time accepting the fact that he's actually old. And he just needs to understand that. And maybe you need to change
it. It might be it, but here's the thing. You go back, because we've seen quarterbacks from Hall of Fame quarterbacks who have gone to other teams and win the Super Bowl, I mean, honestly, their first year. Now, maybe it would be a little bit different depending on what played out last year. We don't know. It was taken from us 4 plays in. But if you look at it, Tom Brady, when he came to Tampa, all offseason, he was going to high schools, going to different places, getting in sync with his wide receivers. Matthew Stafford goes to the Rams. First thing he does, he starts getting with his wide receivers. He starts getting with Sean McVay. He starts getting in this playbook to really start doing that. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers maybe isn't doing this, but we haven't been seeing it, right? Like, it's not something, I mean, we see him in Egypt, or we see him going on retreats. And it's like, yeah, you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. And some of the throws that he is making, like the back shoulder throw to Alan Lazard that was a missed touchdown in the end zone, fantastic throw. Would have been a phenomenal play. And it was something that we expect Aaron Rodgers to do at this point. But these guys are just not clicking. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens now. Someone's going to pick up Robert Saleh, though. I know that for sure. So I mean, there's still a lot of head coaches on the hot seat this year. He was just unfortunately the first one to fall, but there'll be many more heads rolling this year, this NFL season. Speaking of quarterbacks, let's stay on the quarterback topic because we have other breaking news in New England. Jacoby Brissett has officially been benched, and Drake May is getting the starting nod. Now, he has home field advantage, but he is playing against the Houston Texans, so it is going to be a little bit of a rough road for him. But Drake May, what do we see? We're starting to see Caleb Williams. I mean, Jaden Daniels is on another level. Bo Nix is playing out of his mind. Is Drake May going to live up to the other three rookie quarterbacks? Because I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I was questioning Bo Nix this coming up off season. Caleb and Jaden were kind of the two that were like, okay, these are going to be the guys to look for this year. But Bo Nix is a surprise. But is Drake May going to turn some heads there in New England, or are they going to be chasing him out by the end of the year?
I think he's like Caleb Williams. Like he's going to have a rough couple of games. The only difference is that he doesn't have the weapons like these other guys have. I mean, him and Bo Nix probably have the least amount of weapons as were at least Jaden, and Jaden is a weapon. And then Williams has a nice supporting cast. So I don't know, man. This guy, and he's going up against a good defense. I think they're ranked in the either 6 or 7 this year. It's going to be, hey, welcome to the NFL, Drake May. But you know what? You're a top 5 pick, so I can't feel bad for you. It's time to get in there. But he may surprise some people, man. He's a tough kid out of, when he's at North Carolina. The bad thing is he had more weapons at North Carolina than he does here. So we'll see. I'm going to say he doesn't win this week, and he's going to have a rough outing. I don't think it's going to be that great. But if you're a fantasy guy, I would pick up Antonio Gibson and the running backs. I think you're going to see some dump-offs.
I would just like to state, rest in peace, Drake May. Your offensive line is absolute. Like, when you wipe your butt and you have like solid toilet paper, you feel secure, right? Drake May's not wiping with, Charmin Ultra or something like that. He's wiping with that government half-ply stuff. You got to roll that beast up like 9 times. He's going to get wrecked. In weapons, I'm trying to look at their roster. There's nothing. I don't know. If someone's going to get fired next, it's Jared Mayo. The locker room's fighting itself. You got coordinators arguing with each other. You got players arguing with each other in the locker room that's not cohesive. Robert Kraft's got to pull something out of his dentures to fix this, man. I don't know what's going on. And Drake May is going to either run around like he's Jaden Daniels or he's going to get wrecked like his name's Caleb Williams. Like, I feel for the guy because he's a top 5 pick, but at the same token, like, you got to own it. You got to come in and just say, like, hey, guys, we got to start playing some serious ball here or something. It's going to be bad.
His top receiving weapon right now has 16 catches for about 180 yards. That's Hunter Henry. That's the top weapon that he has. I mean, I do like DeMario Douglas. I think he's a good receiver. Drake's going to have to come in there, and it's going to test his mental toughness for sure. He just got to keep his confidence up. But, yeah, he's in for a long road.
Well, it depends because you're going to be shitting your pants running from everybody.
Scooter with the absolute...
We need the button. Where's the button? You're going to be running burr, everybody. Burr.
Holy crap, man. I love it. So, I mean,
it's a good one.
No pun intended. So, really quick, other breaking news. This is strictly for me and Scooter. We are going to sit here and say, suck it, Devin White. We knew that we didn't want you in Tampa. Jason Light knows what he's doing. He's an absolute genius when it comes down to being a GM. The Eagles thought that they were getting an all-star, and if he would have actually just shut up and played, he would. But the guy can't. The guy, I don't know what happened. The hardest and fastest drop-off in from any professional that I've ever seen. The guy was top-tier linebacker, making plays. I know the athletic skill is still there, but my goodness, this guy is just an absolute locker room cancer. So good riddance and good luck on your next journey. It's probably going to be like some rancher somewhere because you love horses.
He's in Antonio Brown in it right now. Just didn't take.
He really is, but he didn't even get a chance to play to run off the field. So I mean, there's that also. So not too sure.
I don't know if it's Devin White or Diva White. I can't remember. But when you got your personality so far up your fourth point of contact, dude, you got to swallow some pride. It's all work ethic, man. Devin White's a talented dude. He was an absolute beast for like the first 3 years, and then just decided he was too good for school and didn't work for it, man. Your talent gets you so far. Your work ethic is what keeps you in the game. And it's two organizations that arguably have pretty decent defenses historically and pretty decent coaching on top of that. And you just fumbled everything, man. Bye-bye, Devin White. Not really sorry. Thanks for the Super Bowl, but bye.
Yeah.
It's like, if you remember, we had this very similar situation with Dexter Jackson. He thought he was awesome when we won our first Super Bowl, and then he was straight trash.
Very true.
He's like, I want to get paid all this money, and then like never produced ever again.
Yeah. Well, again, good luck on your next journey. I'm sure some team will pick them up, and then they'll find out the hard way, just like the rest of us had to. So, let's move on into some games that we're looking kind of we circled here on the calendar. First game to talk about: Ravens Commanders. This is going to be a fun game to watch. You had the Ravens, who were in an absolute shootout with the Bengals. And poor Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns and freaking still couldn't get the win. I mean, what more can you have to do? He's got to get a defense to help him out. We all thought it was the offensive line that was his Achilles heel. No, it's this defense. Doesn't matter how many points you score if your defense gives up, 40 points a game. But Ravens coming in hot. Commanders, Jaden Daniels, rookie of the year as of right now. This kid is just playing out of his absolute mind. The Commanders are hot. The Ravens are hot. Who do we have going into this Sunday? Because this should be a fantastic game.
The over and under has got to be like 60 or something like that. This is going to be a high scoring game because you got two average defenses, but man, you got 2 dynamic quarterbacks, and Jaden Daniels he's coming to his own very quickly. You got to give it to that organization with Kingsbury and just knowing your quarterback and what he excels in, and then, hey, this is what we're going to build this offense around you, man. The job they're doing with Jaden Daniels is awesome. He is throwing the deep ball. He's getting Scary Terry involved. Brian Robinson's running the ball good. You got Derrick Henry. He time ported back to when he was 23. This guy's running. Zay Flowers makes an appearance. He's a good receiver, and Lamar's just Lamar. Isaiah Likely's back. You really don't hear much from Andrews, though. He's kind of falling off a little bit. But, man, this is going to be a like one of those 38 to 35 games. I can see them putting up a ton of points. But it should be, if you like offense, this is your game. I swear to God, if it's like a 13 to 10 game, I'm going to be so mad. I'm done. Because I have Lamar Jackson as my starting quarterback in fantasy. I need him to do like he did last week and give me 40.
There you go.
Dude, you hit it on the head. Both of these defenses, if you look at them, Ravens have like the worst pass defense in the entire league, but very good rushing defense. So they're kind of very 50-50. And then the Washington Commanders found something after firing Dan Snyder and pulling the bodies out of DC. Like, they found something to get this team moving. Jaden Daniels was absolutely what you needed. Terry McLaurin coming out and actually being what he was supposed to be for that team. I don't know how they don't score, like you said, like a couple touchdowns. I could see it being like a 28 to 35-ish, stuff like that. And kickers are pretty decent. You got Justin Tucker on, which he actually missed a field goal, I believe, recently. I was kind of shocked. It was like a 40-yarder. I was like, whoa. So, yeah. Man, you got the hot commit. Can we go back and look at our predictions? Because I'm pretty sure we thought the Commanders would be like the next Panthers, dude. Like,
not the NFC East first place team for sure. No way. Yeah. I think I had them winning like 5 games. The defensive secondary wasn't good at all, but Jesus mercy, is this?
They're good.
Hold on,
it's
Matt.
like the Vikings. They're good.
Yeah, where's my foot? I'm gonna put it right here.
Yeah. Yeah, we are all eating our words of our predictions this offseason, and I know Washington Commanders fans are going to be coming at us hard saying, how do you like us now? So, but it should be an exciting game to watch. It should be absolutely electric, high-scoring game. So if you like offensive style football, this is the game to watch this weekend. Let's move on to the next game that we have circled here on our calendar, and that's going to be the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. Detroit's coming off a bye week last week, so and then the Cowboys. We had the Sunday night game that didn't start, until midnight. So, there was that because of the weather delay. But Dak Prescott gets paid, CeeDee Lamb gets paid. And I just feel like that neither of them are really kind of living up to that pay. It just seems they seem pretty middle of the pack as of right now. They don't seem to be at sync. CeeDee Lamb only 5 catches for 62 yards, where Jalen Tolbert has 7 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. So Tolbert's an explosive player. I love to see that guy. I was looking at picking him off of one of the waivers here, just because it seems like Dak really is starting to trust him and like him. So, but who do we have? Like, not necessarily who do we have, because we're going to get into our picks later. But I mean, what are we seeing in this matchup? What are the key matchups this game against the Cowboys and the Lions?
Probably Dak Prescott is like the first dude to throw an interception in 2 different times in the same game. Like he threw one in Sunday and he threw one in Monday. It's the same game. Yeah, Jerry. I don't know what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. They paid their 2 best offensive athletes. Is Dak the way forward for the Cowboys? I think we've asked this question for the past 3 or 4 years. I just don't know. He has games where he throws 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and then he plays very mediocre for a few games. Their defense, I think Parsons was injured this past time. And, CeeDee Lamb is easily one of the top 3, if not the top, from last year in receiving yards and receptions and all that. If I'm him, I understand I got paid, but this is garbage, dude. He's open when he's not even open. It's like throwing it to Mike Evans in the end zone. Just throw it. He's probably going to catch it. And he's got good route running. He's very quick. Tolbert, dude, you hit the nail on the head there, Dave. Tolbert's an absolute sleeper when it comes to the drag routes and the quick outs and stuff like that. He's incredibly fast. Good on the return game. The Cowboys' run game is absolutely awful. There's no compliment there to the passing game. So if you shut down the Cowboys on the pass, you're probably going to win the game. And I'm surprised the Steelers couldn't do that the way they've been playing. Probably because it was so damn late and it was rainy. It was just kind of poor conditions overall. And the Lions coming off a bye week, Dan Campbell going into Dallas, dude. I understand the Vikings are kind of king right now in the NFC North, but you cannot count out the Lions, dude. They have their identity. They have their defense. And it's going to be brutal moving forward for the rest of the NFL, or at least the NFC anyways. Cowboys got to find some identity on offense. That run game is awful. It's like watching the Bucs last year. They just couldn't move more than 2 yards. Zeke Elliott looks like he's in a wheelchair already. And Dak's usually pretty accurate too. And he has a couple bonehead throws like every other quarterback does. But I have to ask y'all, is he? I'm very confused on it. Is he the future for the Cowboys? Because I feel like if you put him in, he's a starting quarterback regardless. But you plop him into say, I don't know, Carolina. You plop him into Denver. You plop him into, any other organization that needs it. Say even the Giants, man.
I think it's the Cowboys. I'm sorry, Cowboy fans, but you find a way to blow it. They build a good roster. Their defense was built very well. It's hurting right now very much with Parsons out, Lawrence is out. Those are 2 big key guys that are out. And that's the part I want to see in this game is how that defense is going to contain Detroit, because Jameson Williams is getting it together. This kid is balling out. And then you have Amonte Brown. Laporta hasn't even got off this year. Actually, no real tight ends have really gone off this year, but they've got, and their O-line's good. And then you have Gibbs and Montgomery, man. I just don't know how that Cowboys defense is going to hold up against this Lions offense. So it's just, I just think it's like the Cowboys have some weird curse on them. Like, it doesn't matter. They have talent. They'll put up numbers, but at some point, when do wins have to supersede all these big numbers? Great. You're throwing for 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, but we're not winning. So at some point, they may have to go back to the drawing board a little bit and figure out what's going wrong here. But the problem is with quarterbacks in the NFL, man, if you got one that's good, you got to keep it. I think he is a good quarterback, but because you see what happens if you don't, you end up like the Miami Dolphins and you're pulling kids anywhere trying to pull a quarterback. So, or you're signing Joe Flacco to come be your quarterback, man, because that guy, holy crap, man, this guy just won't go away. He's got nothing to lose. He's got nothing to lose. What?
No.
He sucks. Hey, he's supposed to. The guy's going out there killing it. So
he's on the verge of retiring and playing golf, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to play some football?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I go throw the pigskin around a little bit. It's Cleveland. What the heck?
Why
and he goes to Indy, and he's like, man, I'm telling you, it's crazy. But yeah, Cowboys are in for they got to figure it out. But Tolbert is good. Best thing could happen for Tolbert, and I think for the Cowboys, is Brandon Cooks going down. Oddly enough, because Cooks is slowing down, but that Tolbert kid, man, he's lightning in a bottle. He's going to get a lot of looks.
Yeah. Lightning in a bottle is I love to see him, especially on special teams. Anytime he gets past like the 30, I'm like, oh, and there he goes. And it's just over. So definitely brings a big spark to that offense. Running game, Scooter, you're right, man. That running game is very, very suspect. It's led by Ezekiel Elliott, which 5 years ago would have been fantastic, but not as of today. So they got to figure it out some way, somehow. It's going to be a tough road, though, in Detroit. So next game is a NFC South rivalry game. We had the Bucs and the Saints. Saints have a game against the Chiefs. So let's talk about the Saints really quick, because I know that we can talk about everything that the Bucs did poorly last week, and I'm sure that we will get into that. But Saints start off 2-0. Now they've lost 3 in a row. Derek Carr goes down. He's going to be out for several weeks with an oblique injury now. It's either going to be Jake Haener or rookie Spencer Rattler making the start against Tampa. Good news for any Saints fans: if it's Spencer Rattler, you're probably going to win, because we can't stop rookie quarterbacks. And the proof is in the pudding with that, with Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, kind of what they were able to do to us this week. So, but then on the flip side, you have the Bucs, who their offense is great. Liam Cohen calling plays, making it happen. Baker Mayfield is slinging the rock around, man. He's just killing it this year. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all in sync. The running game starting to pick up a little bit of momentum as we get more and more into the season. Bucky Irving, heartbreaking fumble. You can't do that. It cost us the game. Let's be real. There were several moments where we could have won that game against Atlanta, but at the end of the day, don't give up 500 yards against freaking Kirk Cousins in prime time. What are we doing? But this is a game. It's in New Orleans. It's always a hostile environment there in New Orleans. Bucs Saints rivalry goes back a long ways. It's usually been favored by the Saints, especially in the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era. But I don't know, man. With Derek Carr down, our defense is, if our defense can't get healthy, though, if Tampa's defense cannot get healthy, it's going to be another rough game. But this offense can show up, and they've proven to show up. So it might just be what offense can produce the most, because both defenses, might be under the gun.
Yeah.
Dude, Kirk Cousins owns the Bucks. Every time we've played Kirk Cousins, he owns us. I don't know why we thought that was a good idea to pick him.
Not last
but
year,
Baker?
game opener, Minnesota, we beat them.
How many yards did he throw for?
509
Oh my
yards.
God.
It was absolutely.
Kyle Pitts finally showed up.
Listen, really quick. I had him and Darnell Mooney on my bench this week. Okay.
Oh, perfect. That's 80 points.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
still won, luckily, because the guy who I played against, I don't know what happened to his team. He scored like 60 points. So, but I mean,
It does suck that Derek Carr's out. I was kind of really looking forward to this clash because it is a good rivalry. They definitely don't like each other. Mike Evans, Lattimore hate each other. It's just, it's like, yeah, we hate you guys. And everybody's okay with it. So it sucks. It definitely gives the Bucks an advantage because the Bucks offense is rolling, man. The offense is looking really good. And the defense, I mean, without Derek Carr, I mean, it's not like the Saints haven't been in these games that they've lost. They're hanging in there. They're playing good. It's just, and the defense for them isn't playing bad. But Spencer Rattler, Derek Carr, it's definitely not. It sucks that Carr went down.
So when you look at let's take a look at the Bucks real quick. The offense, I don't think has any issues other than ball security. Obviously, with Bucky Irving, the defense needs to do two things here. Actually play freaking secondary for once and actually get pressure because we had almost zero pressures against Kirk Cousins, and obviously we know how that played out. When you got Vita Vea getting double teamed and still manhandling dudes because he's huge and super strong, there was no pressure. Like, we got to get pressure on the quarterback in order to complement our secondary because our secondary is like emaciated because I think Winfield's probably still out.
Whitehead, I know,
cover
got injured
anybody.
last game too.
And like we're dropping safeties like it's freaking Ukraine and Russian generals getting sniped. Like it is what it is, man.
Dude.
Like both offenses for the Saints and the Bucks are clicking. They're pushing the ball down, they're scoring a lot of points, whether it's run or pass. And losing Derek Carr was huge because he was dropping some dimes in that game, and those wide receivers were dropping passes. I was like, oh my God, if they could just catch like 3 extra balls, they would have won that game.
Yeah.
The defense, though, for the Saints, they got holes too, and I think it's very similar to the Bucks. If they can't get pressure, they're probably going to lose that game. So you guys are saying it's an offensive matchup, probably, but you got a backup quarterback playing for the Saints. I would argue it's probably more of a defensive battle, right? Who can get the pressure on the quarterback and fluster them to move the ball to the outside and pressure those tight windows for the secondary? Because we don't have any lockdown corners. We don't have Winfield. I'm pretty sure we lost our other safety. And Spencer Rattler's a good dude. He's got accuracy. He's got a hell of an arm, and he's shifty. But I don't know if he's had the reps in New Orleans to say that he's ready for this game. And I have no idea who the other guy is y'all mentioned. That's, again, there you go. Like, do you put in Taysom Hill? Like, he's still technically a quarterback.
Technically, yes. But I don't think it's going to come down to it. So, should be an interesting matchup. I mean, it's a big game for both teams, right? I mean, if the Bucks lose, then they're at 500 for the year. So I mean, a 4-2 would feel pretty good, and depending on what the Atlanta Falcons do, because Atlanta Falcons, they're starting to get in sync. We're starting to see what we thought the Atlanta Falcons could do, and that's going to be a problem now for the NFC South. At the beginning of the year, we were like, okay, Bucks are looking pretty dominant. Other teams are still kind of looking suspect, and now it's, the Falcons are building momentum. So it's going to be a tight race there in the South. I can definitely say that. But let's move on to the Monday night game to wrap up this before we get into our game day picks of the week. That's going to be the Bills versus the Jets. The Bills, 2 losses in a row, one getting embarrassed by the Baltimore Ravens a couple weeks ago, and then a close loss to the Houston Texans last week. And then, of course, you had the Jets, who we just mentioned, they lost Robert Saleh as their head coach. It doesn't seem like this team is in sync. They just can't seem to pull it together. So kind of two teams who are desperate for a win. And, it's a divisional matchup as well. So, in my head, this is the biggest frustration with me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, even when they had Stephon Diggs, and James Cook has been killing it this year. He's been super consistent, been a great weapon for that offense. But I just feel like at the end of the day, everything falls on Josh Allen. There's not another player on that offense that is making the big plays, for this offense. So it's just like Josh Allen against the world. And then you have, on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers, who just seems kind of mid as of right now. He's still slinging the ball like he usually does with the accuracy and everything, but unfortunately, he's throwing it to the wrong place on the field. Now, is that the play calling? Is that the wide receivers? Is that, what is happening there? We don't know. But this is a desperate moment for both teams. They got to kind of turn around. They got to kind of take the year, because we're still early enough in the year where things can get turned around. But this is the moment to do so.
Yeah, it's tough with Buffalo, because I feel like when the more Josh Allen takes on, that's where you start to see his game start to fall apart, where he doesn't have Stephon Diggs. Like you said, Cook's playing well, but Shakur and Coleman, I know Coleman had a touchdown last week, long catch and touchdown, but it's just not the same. You can see Allen's forcing it, and I feel like it's too much. He's taking on too much, and that's normally what happens before in playoffs games, and that's where he would have either the fumble or the interception. But now he's at that point where he has to be really careful when it comes to, he could be a hit away from an injury. Like there's a lot that can happen there, because their defense isn't what it used to be before. They lost like 9 starters off of that team, so it's gonna be tough for them. But on the hindsight for the Jets, maybe it's that time where Rodgers gets and they're playing some backyard football and he's calling the plays or having some fun. And maybe this, sometimes when the coach, it literally is going to go either two ways. They're either going to do really well or they're really going to suck, because Rodgers is taking so much of the control. But I don't see that. I think the Jets are going to have a good game. I think it's a matchup that favors them, and they really, it's going to loosen up. Sometimes, it kind of, when I look at their firing coach with Slaya, is the same thing Brian Flores. Sometimes the thing with Miami didn't respond to Flores is because he was too tough. He was militant. And the players today don't like that. Everything was so structured under Flores, and he was always getting on to them, and it was, very military style that he ran. And maybe Saleh was the same way, and that doesn't work with today's athlete. They want to be free and do what they would do, have the crazy celebrations and all this stuff. So maybe this loosens them up a little bit, and they start to catch fire.
The Bills had some pretty decent players out versus the Texans. They had Shakir out, they had Oliver out, they had Johnson and Rapp, their safety. So, and they're still listed as questionable for this game against the Jets, but now you got Aaron Rodgers listed as questionable too, with Moses as their tackle, right? He was a very good tackle, and he's still out. I think we have a lot different ball game here. CJ Mosley might still be out too for the Jets for linebacker. And even with those names out, right, those for the Bills, they were only lost by 3 points to the Texans, and the Texans are a very good team. So you're saying it may be all on Josh Allen. Typically it is for the Bills, but a lot of those guys are showing up. Keon Coleman's showing up. James Cook is showing up. That defense, even with the injuries, they're showing up. And Josh Allen's not having to do all the, he's had a few fumbles, but no interceptions. Everyone says, oh, he's going to throw a pick. Still hasn't thrown an interception yet. Now I'm pretty sure I just jinxed Josh Allen. But he's not playing bad, but they're also putting themselves in position to win games. They got embarrassed by the Ravens. I got it. But then they showed up against the Texans, and they just got out coached, I think, in that one. Sean McDermott is a pretty decent coach. I wouldn't say he's great I think defensively speaking, he's very well, scheming. But offense, he's just letting his guys play. When you let Josh Allen play in his element, dude, it's very, very good. But you do take a lot of risk. It's similar to like Lamar Jackson or whenever, early Patrick Mahomes, when you're taking a chance and they start scrambling out. I think some of the players are reading Josh Allen and how he's moving in the pocket or outside the pocket and getting open, man. The Jets, like we said, they are completely out of sync. Rodgers can't hit anybody. He's got like 1,100 yards passing, but he's also got, I think, like 4 interceptions or something. So I think this would be a very interesting game. I think the Bills are still favorited because of how they've been playing and how they've won their games versus the Jets. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. I like the Bills in this game, but there's a lot of key injuries on both sides that we could potentially see affect this game. Like Tyrod Taylor come in instead of Rodgers, or are we going to have, Keon Coleman breakout game? I like the Bills. Don't get me wrong, but there's always that time of the year, and it's usually later in the year where we're like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Yeah,
there's
always that time with the Bills. It seems like.
Oh yeah, as a Miami fan for sure.
Yeah, but you see, last week, Allen got knocked out. When he took that, his head,
shoulder.
He was knocked out from a head injury, and they're actually investigating the Bills now because he came right back. He missed a little bit and then came back really quickly, and now they're being investigated because he was knocked out when his head hit the ground. He was out. They had to bring him back with smelling salt.
Yeah, that was he got knocked down hard, and I keep watching that replay on some highlights. I'm like, that's concussion, man.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I'm saying. Like he's doing so much, and he's having to move out of the pocket to make those throws. Man, I'm surprised he came back. That was 2-2 to be dead, but because he hit his head hard, man, and he bounced down. That head, it bounced off that ground, and I was like, "Ooh, he's knocked out." But he came back quick.
It should be an interesting matchup, but that brings us to that time again, fellas. And that is the Beardzone Game Day picks of the week. That is right. This is our rapid fire section. Last week, Carlos was the king. Yeah, Carlos was the king at 8-6. I went 7-7. Scooter, I believe you went 4-10. So that's gonna hurt your record. But all of our records are down below us for the year. So we started counting week 3 and forward. So week 1 and 2, we kind of missed that. So, but fellas, let's get right into it. Rapid fire. Let's start off with the Thursday night matchup. We have the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Who do we got?
Going Niners. Getting the road win.
I like it.
Geno Smith is the best passing quarterback right now. What's going on?
Geno Smith.
I like. Oh man, I sucked last week. I don't want to do this.
Can I change my pick? I want to go whatever Scooter doesn't pick.
Yeah. Oh wait, Scooter. How about you start us off so then that way we know where to go.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Carlos, I do like the 49ers in this one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 49ers as well. I like Kyle Shanahan on the short week. So let's move on. Jaguars, Chicago Bears. Who do we got, fellas?
Jags. Let's go. Let's get hot in Duval. And Caleb still sucks.
The Bears. Caleb's coming in. He's putting it together, man.
Yeah, I like the Bears in this one. I do like what Caleb Williams is doing. He's starting to kind of bring everything together. And the Jaguars are in a tailspin.
Besides painting his nails.
He's making his European debut.
Hey,
in a skirt.
I mean, kilt, same thing. But, it's
whatever you want to call it. So, but let's move on. Bucks, Saints, fellas, who we got?
Bucks. Why is that even a question? Derek Carr's injured. Let's go.
Bucks.
Yeah, I like the Bucks in this one as well. Ravens, Commanders. Exciting game. Who do we got? We got to take the hot Jaden Daniels, or we got to go with the Ravens?
I'm going to go with the Ravens. I rolled with them last week. Me and Lamar rolling again. I'm going Ravens.
everything, statistically speaking, is telling me Ravens, but I'm going with my gut because I'm hungry. Commanders.
I am going with the Ravens as well. I love what Jaden Daniels is doing. But at the end of the day, I think that the Ravens are gonna get this victory. But it should be a really fun game to watch. Next game we have Cardinals Packers. Who do we like, fellas?
Oh man, Cards squeaked one out too. I got Packers. I think they're looking all right, and I don't know if the Cards have that consistency yet. Something in their play. I don't know. Go Pack Go, was that?
Go Pack Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Packers as well. Colts, Titans. Who do we got? Joe Flacco is hot right now.
Who cares?
There's a dumpster fire going on in Tennessee, man. Oh my god! How do you not pick the Colts? I got Joe Flacco off the golf course. Let's roll.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Flacco, man. He won't let me down twice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts as well. Texans, Patriots. Drake May gets his starting line or game against the Texans. Going to be a tough matchup, but it is in New England, so if that matters at all.
It'll be nice weather for the Texans to win in.
Perfect. Yeah, I already said my piece with rest in peace, Drake May. So go Texans.
I got the Texans as well. Holy crap, fellas! Are we going to pick every game the same this week? Eagles, Colts. What do we got going on this
Browns.
week?
Eagles, Browns.
Oh, Eagles, Browns. Sorry, thank you. Eagles, Browns. How are we looking?
I mean, is Deshaun Watson still their quarterback? You got to pick the Eagles.
Yeah, I think AJ's coming back, so I'm gonna go the Eagles.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles as well. It's hard to go up against. I mean, I feel like that this week there's just it's obvious games,
Browns
right?
Suck though.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's obvious games, So, but Chargers, Broncos, Bo Nix hot. But Chargers coming off a bye week. They've had a couple weeks to prepare now. Who do we got?
Is Justin Herbert legit?
He's in a Jim Harbaugh offense now. He's never going to put up big numbers.
Go Chargers. Let's do this.
Damn it. He picked the Chargers. I'm so confused. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Charger with the extra week. Yeah, I'll go with the Chargers.
You know what? I had the Chargers, but I'm going to change up my pick just because this was a coin toss for me. Give me the Broncos. I like what Bo Nix is doing there in Denver country. So Raiders, Steelers, old time rival. How are we looking? How are we seeing this one play out, fellas?
Russell Wilson making his first start this week. Full practices so far. I'm going
Sounds
Steelers.
Like a joke. Oh!
Too much defense, man. It's too much defense. I don't think the Raiders got it. And they got Devontae Adams problems.
I need some Antonio Pierce cigars in the locker room. Let's go Raiders.
Yes.
All right, David. I feel a little bit better. I got the Steelers as well. So I was gonna change my pick to the Raiders after I heard Russell Wilson was gonna be the starter, but after Scooter just picked the Raiders, I'll stick with my gut with the Steelers. Falcons, Panthers. Falcons
really?
Now clicking on all cylinders.
Is that are we really picking, or is this a give me?
No, you got to give him with the Texans Patriots. I think the Dirty Birds win this one.
Same. Dude, Kirk Cousins is clicking. They do need to run the ball, though.
Yeah. B.J. Robinson needs to put up some more numbers just for all fantasy owners' sake. And for God's sakes, can we get Kyle Pitts in the end zone? But I'm going to go with the Falcons as well. Cowboys, Lions. Who do we have?
Cowboys at home. Oh man, they're so sloppy though. I got Lions off the bye week.
Yeah, Dan Cable. Yeah, I'm going with the Lions.
I'm going to go with the Lions as well. I'm just not a big fan of the Cowboys. I'm just going to be really honest with you. I don't know if I'll ever pick the Cowboys again moving forward. Broncos, Giants, Bengals, Giants. Who do we got?
Can Joe Burrow just get a win with 5 touchdowns? Gosh.
Not if he's playing against Lamar.
Clearly. I got the Bengals, man. They're looking a lot better on offense. The defense still has got some questions, but I think the Bengals can win in MetLife.
David, I want to hear your pick first.
I'm going to go with the Bengals as well. I know that this kind of feels like a trap game. Danny Dimes is, throwing the ball pretty well. Malik Neighbors might be coming back. I'm going to go with the Bengals.
My gut told me last week to go with the Giants, and I didn't do it. And look what happened. My gut doesn't tell me that now, but I'm going to go with the Giants.
All right, Carlos with the lone wolf on the Giants pick. I love it. And then wrapping up the week, Scooter, I know that you kind of already alluded to this pick earlier, but Bills, Jets, who we rolling with?
Even with all the injuries considered, I like the Bills. And if Rodgers doesn't play, like, that might be more of a give me.
Going Jets. Rodgers play, man. He's got some nice hibiscus tea rolled up with the little sensimilla. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jets as well. There's just a different kind of energy when a coach gets fired in the locker room. And so I think that the Jets are going to come out and beat up on the Bills. Not saying that it's going to be a blowout, but I think that they're going to win. I think it's going to be a good game for the Jets. So, but let us know down in the comments who you guys are rocking with. Shout out your team down there. And we love to see all of the comments. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as that is the best way to continue to support us. Follow us on all of our social medias. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The links are down there in the description below. Join us every Friday at 9 a.m. to cover everything NFL. And if you are a college football fan, also check out our Wednesday episodes at 9 a.m. where we cover everything college football. But until next Friday,
Beardzone out.